I'm here excited to be with my other dear friend. I was just talking about how Lori was a dear friend, and now we have Aimee, who's a dear friend. Well, I just have a lot of dear friends, I guess. I'm lucky that way. I'm Renee Barabo, the practical shaman, for those of you who don't know me. And Aimee and I, we live on the same triangle. This is according to what Aimee tells me, that the reason that I picked the house that I did was because it's an exact triangle to this ley line that happens to be in the desert. I never knew why, but I've always felt it. And the truth be told, that I've always lived within a couple blocks radius of this line. And last year, when I thought I was going to sell my house in the desert, this line came to see me when I was at the grocery store and said, "So, what's it going to feel like when you don't have this anchor?" And I was like, I'm looking around the car, like, who just spoke to me? And I was sitting in the grocery store of this, my little island Payless, and thinking to myself, like, what is it going to feel like? And there was like a piece of me that was absolutely missing. And sure enough, I was ready to sell. I thought the wind said, "Renee, sell. I've got my new heart home up here." And yet the desert's not done with me. And the very next day, the deal fell through. It was the last day of the inspection. And when it fell through, I was like, I understood that there's me in this mountain. We have this thing. And it may be the ley line, but I think it's the mountain. And it's an intentional to be there. And I'm really looking forward to being back in the desert in a few days. And I think that's enough about me. But Aimee and I are very different. Like, if I'm practical, she lives with Metatron up in the ethers, but she's practical too. But she brings it down. And when I started this wind thing, she'd say, "Oh, it's all about magnetics." And I'm there like, "What do you mean it's all about magnetics?" And sure enough, I found the awakening compass in the process. And sure enough, it took me years to understand what she was seeing, because hers was maybe at not a higher or better or anything, her symbols are very different than mine. And yet we seem to get to the same places a lot in our work. And right now, there's another parallel kind of going on, whereas I believe that our time is to be back in community. And, I'm the board president of the HOA, which everyone else put their heads down when they were voting and put me in the job. And foolish enough that I said, "Oh yeah, this will be easy. I'll manage all of these men, these retired men who have nothing else to do but run the board." And Aimee put her energy into a local community organization for horses, which tells me, again, we're on the same parallel, that we know that our work is now at home. And I think that there's a real value to that. And I can't wait to hear what you have to share about that, Aimee. And you can tell about your organization and your symbols and all of that, because it usually goes right above my head.
I'm not even going to talk about all that today.
Well, you can just, weave it in a little bit.
The horses, but okay. First, a couple things. Yes, absolutely. We seem to be on these parallel trajectories, even though we have different ways of getting to our destination. We always find a common language so we can be together. So, and Renee, we've been friends for so many years at this point. It's hard to believe it. How many years have passed? A lot. Yeah,
a lot. We don't look any older though than we did 20 years ago. So
no, not
enough.
Not a wrinkle, not a day.
Not a glasses.
No. These, by the way, I don't need these. They're blue light blockers. So I just like to state that for the record.
Let's say that Aimee can see, and she eats very minimal things.
Spinach.
We usually have tea.
Right. We have tea. We don't eat together. But that's okay.
We love each other anyway.
We sure
she has a wind whistle.
This wind whistle is from the very beginning. I think this is from your very first.
Let me see. That's a Gregorio whistle.
Yeah. So this, I've been thinking, I'm going to be bringing this out to the horses. I think they're going
to love it.
Wind whistling. So yeah, I felt it was appropriate to bring that. And also another thing that I brought was your very first rendition of your wind cards. of these. And I pulled the compassion one this morning.
Oh, Dakota.
Dagoda. Yeah,
Mhm.
compassion, find freedom and forgiveness. So yeah, so I thought it was kind of nice to set the stage for this talk with that. This has been coming up a lot for me, and not just for me. I mean, everybody that I'm talking to, this is coming up a lot. Like, it's time to let go. It's really time to dig deep and go into forgiveness and let go. Like, it's a new era.
Mhm. So can I turn it over to you? But right before I do, have you seen the new drawings that I've been playing with AI and the wind? I think it's the wind. I think there's a cooperation between artificial intelligence and the wind. And you've said it, solar, winds, and like that there was never a time before. So that was the first rendition. And if you haven't seen the latest ones, go over to the Practical Shaman on Facebook, because what's coming through me with the help of AI is something that I've been trying to get to for 10 years. So I'm very excited about that next year.
That's cool. Well,
Okay, now it's
what
all
I
you.
really good. Yeah, and I really love the idea of expressing through drawing. In fact, most of my work is done through sacred geometry. I use sacred geometric symbols and I encode them. So I capture energy in the symbols with the assistance of a crystal, and that is how my programs are administered to those who take classes from me and do activations and take my practitioner courses. So but anyway, so I'm Aimee Mosco, and I'm co-founder and owner of a company called Intentional Healing Systems. And my website, you can see the underneath or next to my name there. You can find my website, and you can check out some of the symbols that I use and read the descriptions of some of my books. I've co-authored 11 books. The latest one was just released in November, and it was about AI, actually, interestingly enough, AI and the connection to spirituality and how to move forward using AI in a spiritually responsible way. So anyway, a little bit about me. I'm a channeler and a seer. So I can see energy. So I spent many years mapping the human energy field with guidance from my friends beyond the veil, because it was like, okay, well, I have this ability to see energy and I can see into the human energy field. So what am I going to do with it? So I have documented 7,000 plus pages of channeled communications and curated that information into systems and techniques to actually help people heal. So a funny thing happens. So when you spend a lot of time doing channeling and using your intuitive abilities, that muscle gets really strong. And then unexpected communications come through. So I discovered completely by accident that I actually have the ability to communicate with animals, kind of like Dr. Doolittle. So this was a really beautiful gift for me because I'm an animal lover. Probably since the day I popped out of the womb, I've been an animal lover. I mean, it's in me, and I'm willing to bet probably a lot of you who are watching this video right now, the same is true of you. So we tend to congregate together. So let me share with you what happened, because it's been a really interesting journey. You'll notice the horses behind me. I've discovered a love for horses, and like I said, I've always loved animals, but I never, and I had some experiences with horses when I was a kid, but I wasn't one of those, I have to have a horse and I have to be around horses. That wasn't part of my programming. But anyway, my husband is a retired combat veteran, and he was invited to participate in a veterans program at a local horse rescue called Coachella Valley Horse Rescue here in the Southern California desert where we live. So this organization, they take care of horses that have been either abused or, owner surrendered, and they turn these horses into program horses. They provide support and horse therapy for war veterans as well as children. But we went together to the rescue to hear about the program and meet the horses, and it was just, it just kind of spoke to us both. So this was on July 5th of 2019. We went out to the horse rescue, and this is the dead of summer here in the desert. So it's pretty uncomfortable. Even when the sun's going down, it's still in triple digits. So it was hot for us, but imagine what it's like with a fur coat on. So it's pretty hot for the animals as well. Yet they do their job and they do it very well. So the rescue director at the Coachella Valley Horse Rescue, her name is Annette Garcia. She was standing in front of us. There were a group of us gathered there, a group of veterans and wives and husbands. And so we're standing there, and she's standing there in front of us, addressing us and talking about horse safety, what to do around horses and what not to do. And anyway, her horse Riley was standing next to her in a box that was outlined with wooden railroad ties in the sand. And let me see, Renee, can I share to the screen? Because I want to share, if you can hear me still, I want to share a picture of Riley because he's spectacular. Hold on. I want you to see his face.
I want to see Riley.
Yeah, Riley. Okay. All right. So look at this beautiful being. I mean, is that just the sweetest face?
Wow, how compassionate is Riley? Decode.
Yeah, exactly. Riley is probably the king of compassion. I mean, this is just this, and what Annette was doing, like she was standing underneath him. She was kind of like messing with him a little bit, like lifting his hooves and it just to show us how well behaved he is and how cognizant he is of us. But still, you need to have some awareness of horse safety when you're working with horses, because these are 1,700 pound animals. So anyway, she's advising us and demonstrating the do's and don'ts. And I was listening to her and trying to keep it all straight in my mind, because like I said, I don't really have a lot of experience with horses. So I wanted to do the right thing. Anyway, but it was really hard to concentrate because I kept looking at this beautiful horse. I mean, I was completely enamored with him. So he's like a 1,500 pound angel. And I could see his energy field just glowing with love. So I looked at him in the eyes and he looked back at me with full attention. And then it was like everything around me just fell away. I couldn't hear Annette's voice anymore. And Annette, if you're listening, my apologies. I wanted to listen, but I couldn't. And I couldn't feel the discomfort of the blistering heat. I could only feel the energy of Riley's heart field. He was sending pulses of energy to my heart chakra, and I could feel it it was like chipping away at the boundaries of my heart chakra, just opening me up. So, and I felt like he was intentionally communicating with me. It seemed like he was asking me to send energy from my heart chakra. As it was opening, he was asking me to send heart energy back to him, which I did with the intent to share, the love of the divine that's flowing through me. I really wanted to give him something pure. So we're having this moment. We stood there for a really long moment, sending energy back and forth to one another. And then I was thinking, well, I hope we're not going to be tested on what Annette's telling us, because I was admittedly not paying attention at all. I was just lost in his field. So it was like being back in the womb. I mean, it was just indescribable. Those of you who have had experiences with horses and spent time with horses, I don't need to describe it. But for those of you who hadn't, that's the only way I can describe it, is just to say it was like being back in the womb. So without warning, Riley steps out of this box, that he's standing in as Annette is discussing the do's and don'ts. And he turns his body so he's facing northwest. And he looked back at me and then turned his head away again with his ears like straight up in the air at full attention. So Annette was a little confused. She was calling to him and tugging at his reins to reposition him. And I heard her say, I don't know what's going on. He never does this. Like, he's so well behaved. He never does this. So apparently Riley is somewhat of a saint. He always does what she asks him to do. And he never acts up, according to her. So she was pretty confused. So she got him turned back around so he was facing us again. And I felt him staring at me again, asking for my attention. And so when I looked in his eyes this time, I heard a voice say, "Brace yourself." I was thinking, okay, I had that moment. Even though I'm a channel and intuitive, I still have those moments of, okay, I'm losing it here. I've gone crazy. This horse is talking to me now. Is this possible? Well, instinctively, I replied with, why? Brace yourself. Well, why? And then I heard the voice again, and it said, earthquake. So I leaned over to my husband and whispered to him that the horse had just told me we're going to have an earthquake. he knows me very well. So he just kind of raised his eyebrows a little bit and then braced himself. So Riley turned around again to face the northwest. Same, when he misbehaved before, he was facing the northwest. He did it again, and he just stood perfectly still for the next 2 minutes. It didn't really matter that Annette was trying to get his attention again. He stood perfectly still for about 2 minutes, and then the earthquake hit. And the earth rumbled and rolled beneath our feet for, it felt like an eternity. But he stood perfectly still. So as soon as the rolling stopped, my husband was all fired up and he yelled out that the horse had told me the earthquake was coming. So as you can imagine, there were all sorts of questions after that proclamation, but that's the story for another day, right? But that earthquake registered a 7.1 on the Richter scale. And the epicenter was located in Ridgecrest, California, which is about 190 miles to the northwest of where we were. So he was pointing his body to the epicenter of that earthquake, right? And warning me that there was going to be an earthquake and I should brace myself, which is amazing. I mean, humans can't predict earthquakes. So I didn't realize it at the time, but I really believe that Riley was asking me to combine my heart energy with his. So together we could send healing energy to the earth, to the epicenter of this earthquake before it even hit. So I don't know what effect love has on a fault line or the effects on an earthquake or damage, but I'm going to say that Riley knows exactly what that infusion of love will affect. And he was asking me to be partners with him in healing the earth or preventing damage or whatever it is that we were doing together to help. He was asking me to be his partner. So that was a life-changing moment and day for me. And like I said, I've always been an animal lover, but I think I didn't realize until exactly that moment how animals truly lead the charge for human spiritual evolution, how they teach us how to become one with one another, how to respect nature, and how to assist, just doing something simple like sending love to a fault line. Okay. So they're mapping the route for us. That's what I began to realize. They are mapping the route. They're way more conscious than we are, and they're guiding us on this journey. Okay. So this was before COVID. I mean, this was 2019. So, at the time, I had no idea what was coming, although Riley probably did. I had a few other interesting exchanges with Riley since then. Like he actually came to me in a vision almost a year later and told me of another earthquake and asked me to do the same thing with him. And sure enough, I checked the earthquake logs later and there was another earthquake, and it was exactly where he had me orient, point my body. So, that's one of his things, one of the things that he does to help our world. Anyway, so this all came to be shortly before COVID crippled the world and we found ourselves quarantined. So I'd always intended to go back and explore more with Riley, but of course the energetic landscape of the world just shifted so dramatically in those, the months that followed, that my mind was on other things. I mean, I was thinking about helping humans heal and the immune system. I really dug deep into the programming of the immune system. But back in December of last year, the horses at the Coachella Valley Horse Rescue started calling to me. I could feel it in my bones. It was like I knew that I had work with them. So when Coachella Valley Horse Rescue had their open house in January of 2023, this last year, I went out to the ranch to connect with the horses and see what our business was together. Because like I said, I felt it was like a magnetic pull. So sadly for me, Annette and Riley had relocated to their sister rescue in Arizona. It's called the Comeback Ranch. But I sensed that Riley had really orchestrated this call that I'd received from the rescue. So on that open house day, I took a tour of the ranch and met the other horses. And of course, my heart chakra felt like it was ablaze. I mean, it knew what to do in the presence of horses. I knew that I needed to be with these horses and to learn from them and exchange energy with them. And, I'm thinking too, I'm a healer. That's what I do. So these are rescue horses and a lot of them have hard stories. So I wanted to not just be with them to learn from them, but I wanted to be with them to give to them. So during that open house, I met this beautiful girl. Her name is Magnolia. And of course, I'm going to show you a picture of Magnolia. So stand by here. All right. I'm feeling like just even talking about her, saying her name, I'm feeling my heart chakra open. So I'm hoping that you can feel that too. As you look at her picture, just feel your heart chakra open. Okay. Look at that beautiful, beautiful face. I call her Magnificent Queen Magnolia. So when I met her during the open house, she was shifting her weight back and forth as I stood there staring at her. I could feel her discomfort in my body. And I could see that she wasn't uncomfortable or she wasn't comfortable. So I offered healing energy to her. And the nice thing about animals is that they really don't have any preconceived notions about energy work or energy. It's like if it's something they can use, they'll just accept it. Anyway, so she gladly accepted the energy, and I could feel her body relax after maybe 10 minutes or so of doing energy work on her. I could feel her muscles reacted. She stopped shifting her weight. So when it was time to go, when the open house was over, I had a hard time pulling myself away from her. I wanted to ease her pain, and I wanted to be in her enormous heart field. It was kind of like a drug for me. So she and I have actually had many adventures together since then, because of course I went back to the rescue, and I was delicate because, energy work is not something that everyone accepts. It's not mainstream yet. So I was delicate, and I kind of push in a pushy way. I kind of introduced myself into the mix at the ranch, and offered to do energy work on the horses, and was able to go out there once a week and do some energy work. But I really became attached to Magnolia, and we've done some great work together. We've done healing on each other, and we've done healing on others. When I was going out to the ranch once a week, I just thought, well, I'm here once a week. So what if I just invite other people to join us, in spirit? And what Magnolia and I will do together is we'll send energy to them. And so I started doing that with her and some of the other horses. And the reports that I got from the people who said they wanted to participate was incredible. I mean, what they were feeling in their bodies and how this energy work was helping to ease their pain was really something. It was really, like, to me, a miracle. So anyway, the horses at the ranch, this is when they really began educating me. They began showing me and telling me in their own way that they need to honor their purpose. And part of their purpose is to light the way for humans in our ascension process. So they're natural healers, and they apply heart energy to everything. And as we all know, love energy, it's the most powerful remedy in existence. I mean, it's a cure-all. So the problem for us humans is that even in knowing this, being able to keep that potent love flowing in our energy field strong enough to successfully achieve the healing we need, that's difficult, because we're complex beings, and we're thinking about 15 million things during the day, and we're getting angry at someone that's cut us off in their car, or we're not forgiving someone for something. So it's difficult to keep the flow going, to keep that heart flow going. But for horses, it's not. That's just what they do naturally. So here's how they help us. They started to show me how they can pair their heart, their powerful heart energy and powerful heart flow with our intentions. And so how the work has evolved that I've been doing with these animals, this energy work that I've been doing, is after a short period of time and experimenting with them and conducting remote healings with my practitioners and clients and people that want to experience horse healing, I started getting correspondence from other people, just other horse people around the world, wanting to know what their horses were saying or thinking, or, how their horses were helping them heal. So a woman that I've been working with that takes classes from me, she put me in touch with a horse ranch in Germany, okay, on the other side of the globe. So the woman who owned the property and ran the ranch asked me for help. The horses in her care, she had 40 plus horses in her care. They were really sick. There was an equine herpes outbreak, and some of the horses were so critically ill that she was preparing to euthanize them. She was kind of like she didn't know what to do. She was at, on the end of her rope. So she asked if I would connect with the two sickest horses and see if they knew why they were sick and what they needed from her to heal. So of course I said, I'll try. And so I connected with the first critically ill horse. And what he told me is that he was a healer trying to do his job, but he was just burned out. I mean, he was trying so hard to be a healer, but he was exhausted and he needed help. And he pointed out that getting sick would also get his humans to notice that something really needed to be addressed. That's when we start asking questions. It happens to us too. When we get sick, we're like, okay, why did this happen? What do I need to shift? How do I need to take better care of myself? Well, what happens is with our animals, if we notice they're not well, we start asking questions. So he said he needed his humans to start asking questions. And one way to do that was to succumb to illness. That was news to me. I didn't know that animals had that level of awareness, but that's what he told me. So he showed me an older gentleman who had a neurological disorder. I could see this man like he was sitting next to me in my vision. So he imparted a surprising number of details to me about the man's medical conditions. And he even told me what year this guy was born. He was an older man. Anyway, this horse asked me to put my energy together with his. I did the same thing that I did with Riley. It was like, got this heart circuit going. And then we sent energy to help ease this man's pain, just like Riley taught me. Okay. So, so I got the next day, I think it was the next day, or maybe it was 2 days afterwards. There's a bit of a time, not lapse, but a time difference in Germany. So I think it was maybe 2 days later. I got a video from the ranch owner showing me the horse, right? The horse had made this unexpected, miraculous recovery and was on the mend. And she was shocked. She said, well, what did you do? And I told her exactly what happened. I said, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything to him. I did something with him that allowed him to help him step deeper into his purpose, and then also have my support for doing his job. So she said, wow, that's very interesting. I'm going to need to explore that. But the good news was that the horse was getting better. So then I connected with the other critically ill horse, and he showed me something similar. He was trying to heal a little boy. And once again, the image he showed me of this little boy telepathically was very clear. I mean, I could see the little boy's haircut. I could see the color of his eyes. I could see his expressions. So, and I did the same thing. We connected our hearts, we created a circuit, and then we sent energy to this little boy, okay, to help him heal. And so, the ranch, I sent an email to the ranch owner and I said, here's what happened. He showed me this little boy, and, I gave her the description of the little boy, and, we worked on the little boy together. When the ranch owner texted me back the next day, she forwarded a photo of this little boy. And when I looked at him, I mean, it was every single detail that I saw in my vision. This was the same boy. It turned out that this little boy was the person who owned this horse, not the owner of the ranch. She owned the ranch and the horses were boarded there, but the actual owner of this horse had a little boy who had a neurological disorder. And that's who we were working on. So yeah, it was very, and then again, a couple of days later, she texted me and she said, yeah, the horses, we thought we were going to have to put him down, but he's making a recovery. So, I mean, this is really powerful. This is powerful. And there's so much wrapped up in this. I mean, it shows me the power. It shows us the power of unity and opening our hearts and minds to using all of our resources, using our partnerships with other living beings to actually affect healing. Okay. Being really creative with it. So, the energy of unity that sits underneath the foundation of my work with these horses is really the thing to pay attention to here. Okay, so we work together to help each other heal and to deliver healing energy in a most unified way to others who are on their ascension journey as well. So these horses, needless to say, have been my greatest teachers this past year. And I'm really committed to honoring their wisdom and purpose. I'm committed to being their voice so humans can understand better how important their energy is to us and our spiritual development. So what I want to do with you today, if you're game and you want to participate, I created this little, this short exercise. Okay. And this is something you can take away as a gift as well. You can either screenshot it or I believe Renee has posted the PDF of this exercise, but we'll go through it together. Okay. So you know how to use it when you go to use it next. Okay. So we're going to tap into the collective healing power and field of horses because they all know to connect with one another. Okay. They have a herd mentality and they're connected. Okay. So I'm just going to ask that as we do this exercise, I'll share it to the screen. I'm going to ask that you remember to replenish the energy that you received from the collective horse field. Okay. Open your heart, give love and gratitude for whatever it is you received from this unified horse field. Okay. So here's the exercise. It's very simple. Bear with me while I share it to the screen. Okay. So we have intentions here. First, you're going to state the intention. I'll state it out loud and you can just listen to it. And if the words feel right to you, just agree to integrate the energy of the words. Okay. I choose to call on my higher wisdom to connect me with my intuitive communication abilities. I choose to invite and integrate horse energy communications that honor my soul development into my awareness. I choose to offer in exchange for this gift energy that flows through my sacred heart. And then we're going to follow up with some affirmations to really reinforce your belief that you're exchanging energy with this horse field. Okay. I am receiving energy communications from the collective horse field with the highest degree of clarity. I gratefully receive the sacred gift with an open heart and an open mind. I share the love of the divine that flows through my sacred heart to the collective horse field in exchange for the gifts I'm receiving. Okay, and just close your eyes. Remember that picture of Riley. Remember that picture of Magnolia. Okay, and as you close your eyes and you breathe mindfully, deep breath in, let it circulate through your lungs, then release. And another, bring yourself to center. And picture these horses and imagine that you're in an open field. And immerse yourself in your surroundings using all of your senses, okay? Do you feel the wind blowing through that open field? Which winds are with us now? Okay, can you hear the rustling of the tall grass? Can you smell the greenery? Feel the sunshine on your face. Really put yourself there. Let your senses do the talking. And imagine that as you stand there in the field, a wild horse approaches you. Feel the strength, the wisdom, and the heart field of the horse. Okay, let your heart chakra open. Feel the horse's energy. Feel the horse's heart field communicating with your heart chakra, sending pulses of love through you. And let that energy merge with yours. And then push it back to the horse. See the horse's heart chakra open. Feel it. Feel that horse receiving your love. And now pull that energy back so you're creating a circuit with the horse. Okay, and just ask for whatever it is that you need. And you might not even know what that is. Whatever horse wisdom and horse love you need right now to help you with compassion and forgiveness and gratitude and elevating your vibrations. Ask for that to be delivered to you. Feel that energy. come in through your heart and send your love back as thanks. Okay, and then we're going to amplify the energy that you're experiencing here, that you're receiving from the horse field. You're just going to tap on some spots on your body that represent really powerful energetic nodes in your field. Okay, the first is your thymus, which is about 2 inches above your heart chakra in the center of your chest. Just tap a few times gently there. Okay, and then your hairline, 2 or 3 taps gently there. Okay, to pull that energy in and amplify it. And then the hollow of your throat, your thymus again, which is also your sacred heart, by the way. Your chin. And then tap a few more times on your chin. And lastly, the bridge of your nose. Okay. And, you know, if you feel inclined, this was just a very short exercise, a short meditation. If you feel inclined, you can revisit. You can revisit that open field where you were receiving horse energy. You can go anytime. I just ask you to remember to return whatever it is you receive in equal measure. Okay, just open your heart. So that's all I have for you today. But I would really like to say thank you, Renee, for having me, for giving me the opportunity to be here with the Wind Clan. And I really like to express my gratitude to all of the participants, whether you're here live or you're watching a replay, to all the fire tenders who are holding space. It was just a real joy to be able to do this. Thank you.
The joy is ours. I was like, I don't have words. I'm wordless.
That's okay.
Wordless. You're such a special being, and these horses are lucky to merge with you. That's all.
Thank you.
I was like sharing your link to all the horse lovers I know during your presentation. I was listening too, but I was, you know me.
Yes, you know you.
Multitasking.
I know. You're amazing.
I don't know about that.
I do.
Well, thank you so much, and I will look forward to having tea really soon.
Yes, please let me know when you're ready, and I will be there.